Uncomfortable truth. Most people run Claude Code completely naked. No graph tools, no design skills, no example libraries, nothing. Out of the box, the agent guesses at your architecture and ships generic slop. But 5 free repos change that. Watch the number of installed superpowers climb from 0, and everything about the workflow shifts. This is Signal Coders. Today, 5 open source repos that hand Claude Code genuinely unfair advantages. Graphify maps your codebase. Hallmark kills AI slop design. Awesome-llm-apps teaches by example. OpenCode gives you an open agent, and OpenCut handles video. Every single one is free, open source, and installable this afternoon. No trials, no seats, no catch. Part 1. Graphify. Picture your codebase. Now picture holding all of it in your head at once. You can't, and neither can Claude Code when it only sees one file at a time. Graphify turns that sprawling, invisible mess into a single picture your agent can actually read and reason about. So what does Graphify actually do? You point it at a project, and it parses every file into nodes and edges, functions, imports, classes, the calls between them. Instead of reading one file blind, Claude Code gets a dependency graph and a call graph. It reasons about structure. It knows this function touches that module before it ever writes a line. That is the whole shift. But here's the real win, and it is not the pretty picture. It is context. When you feed Claude Code a map of how modules connect, it stops guessing. No more inventing a function that does not exist. No more wiring the wrong service together. The agent sees that auth calls billing, billing calls the database, and it plans real changes instead of hallucinated ones. Graphify is not magic, so be honest about fit. For onboarding to a huge legacy repo you did not write, it is fantastic. It hands you the map in minutes. For a 200-line script, it is total overkill. And remember, the graph is a snapshot. Refactor heavily and it goes stale, so you have to regenerate it or it quietly lies to your agent. Part 2. Hallmark. You have seen it. That unmistakable AI look. Purple gradients, everything rounded, emoji headers, 3 cards in a row. Hallmark is the anti-slop design skill. It is a set of rules you install so Claude Code stops shipping interfaces that scream a machine made this in one prompt. Hallmark installs as a skill, a prompt layer the agent reads before it designs anything. Look at the difference. On the left, default output, loud gradient, giant rounded buttons, no real spacing, everything the same weight. On the right, Hallmark guided, calm palette, tight spacing rhythm, one clear focal point. Same prompt, same model. The only change is the rules feeding Claude Code. So what rules does Hallmark actually enforce? First, spacing rhythm. Consistent, deliberate white space instead of random padding. Second, a restrained palette. A few colors used with intent, not a rainbow. Third, real hierarchy. Type sizes and weight that guide your eye to what matters. It is opinionated on purpose. Follow those, and Claude Code stops defaulting to purple gradients and rounding every single corner into mush. Here is the honest limit. Hallmark raises the floor on taste. Your worst output gets noticeably better, fast, but it will not replace a real designer. It gives you competent, not remarkable. And because the rules are opinionated, they can fight an existing brand system. If your company already has a strict style guide, Hallmark's defaults may argue with it, and you will spend time overriding. Part 3. Awesome-llm-apps. Sometimes the best superpower is not a tool, it is a library of examples. This repo is a giant curated collection of working LLM applications. When your agent can see dozens of real, runnable projects, it stops inventing patterns and starts copying ones that actually ship. And the scale is the point. Awesome-llm-apps has racked up tens of thousands of GitHub stars, and it keeps climbing. Inside, you get dozens of runnable projects, RAG tutorials, single agents, multi-agent teams, memory systems, all with source code. Point Claude Code at this repo, and it has a working reference for almost any pattern you ask for. Watch that star count grow. Here's the real workflow. Don't ask Claude Code to design an app from scratch. Instead, point it at a folder inside this repo as a working template. Say, use this multi-agent example as my starting point. Now it edits real tested structure instead of hallucinating one. You get a running skeleton in minutes, not a blank file and a prayer. That's the whole trick. One honest caveat. These examples vary in quality and freshness. Some use last year's library versions. Some are rougher than others. So treat them as scaffolding you adapt, not production code you copy blindly. Read what Claude Code pulls in, update the dependencies, and test it. The repo is a starting line, not a finish line. Repo number 4 changes who's in the driver's seat. OpenCode is an open-source, terminal-native coding agent. It doesn't replace Claude Code. It plays right alongside it, living in your shell where your real work already happens. No browser tab, no lock-in, just your terminal and your existing setup. OpenCode comes from the SST team, and its whole pitch is being model-agnostic. It runs as an agent inside your terminal, but you choose the brain. Anthropic today? A local model tomorrow, something cheaper next week. You swap providers with a config change instead of being married to one vendor. When prices shift or a better model lands, you just move, no rewrite. Put them head to head. A closed agent locks you to one provider, one billing account, one company's roadmap. OpenCode runs fully in your own terminal and your own CI pipeline. Portability, provider choice, and no black box. If your workflow lives in scripts and servers, an agent that runs where your code runs beats one trapped behind someone else's login. The trade is real. Bring your own key means you manage the cost and the setup yourself. There's no company absorbing your bill, and this is a younger project, moving fast, which cuts both ways. You get new features quickly, but you also hit rougher edges. If you want zero config and handholding, this isn't it yet, so budget some patience. Last repo, and it solves the part everyone forgets. You built something incredible with your agent. Now you have to show it. OpenCut is the free editor that gets your demos off your screen and onto YouTube. Building is only half the job. Shipping proof is the other half. OpenCut is an open-source, privacy-friendly alternative to CapCut. It edits right in your browser, so there's nothing to install and your footage never has to leave your machine. You get a real timeline, multiple tracks, trimming, and text. And here's the kicker for creators. It exports with no watermark stamped across your video. There's no login wall and no export cap. Free means free. Here's why it fits this exact stack. You record Claude Code, shipping a feature. Then you cut the dead air, trim to the good part, add captions so it reads without sound, and export a clean clip. No monthly subscription, no account wall, no watermark tax. The same open source spirit that built your app now edits the video that proves it works. Set expectations. OpenCut is lighter than a full editor like DaVinci Resolve. You won't find deep color grading or heavy multi-hour timelines here. It's in active development, so features are still landing. For short-form clips, demos, and social cuts, it's perfect. For a feature-length documentary edit, reach for the heavyweight tools instead. This is a scalpel, not a film studio. So which of these 5 actually earns a spot in your workflow? Let's make it simple. Here's a numbered recap. 5 repos, 1 clear job each, and the exact moment each one pays off. No hype, just when to reach for it. Match the tool to the task. Number 1, Graphify. Reach for it when you're dropped into a big, unfamiliar code base and need to understand how it all fits together fast, without reading every single file. Number 2, Hallmark. Pull it in when you're shipping a user interface and you need it to look designed, not generated. It's the design skill that stops your app from screaming AI. Number 3, Awesome-llm-apps. Open this when you're stuck on how to actually build something. It's your library of working examples, hundreds of real apps you can copy, adapt, and learn from instead of guessing. Number 4, OpenCode. Choose this when you want a portable, model-agnostic agent that runs in your terminal, so you're never locked to one vendor or one price. Number 5, OpenCut. Grab it when you need a free open-source video editor with no watermark and no subscription right in your browser. Now, when not to bother, skip these on tiny throwaway scripts. A 10-line utility doesn't need an agent army. And never ship example code from Awesome-llm-apps unreviewed. It's a starting point to learn from, not production code to deploy blind. Here's how these 5 chain into one loop. Graphify maps the codebase so Claude Code understands structure. Awesome-llm-apps hands it a proven template. Hallmark keeps the interface from screaming AI. OpenCode gives you a portable second agent when you want provider choice. Then OpenCut turns your finished demo into a clip you can post. 5 free tools, 1 continuous pipeline from cold repo to published video. One honest warning before you install everything. Open source is free to download, not free to run. OpenCode needs your own API key, so you own the bill. Graphify diagrams rot the moment code changes, so regenerate them. Hallmark's opinions can clash with an existing brand. And Awesome-llm-apps ships examples, not audited production code. Treat every repo as a power tool, sharp, useful, and dangerous when you skip the manual. So there they are, Graphify to map any code base, Hallmark to kill the AI look, Awesome-llm-apps to build by example, OpenCode for a portable agent, and OpenCut for free video editing. 5 open source repos that give Claude Code illegal superpowers. Follow Signal Coders for weekly AI tooling deep dives. Subscribe if you'd rather understand the future than pay for it.